You are watching QTV broadcasting from the Gambia, and this is the news with me, Jenna Bosonko. Coming up in our headlines: Gambia government sued at High Court. The people of Garawal want the existing election laws be maintained, and organizers brief the media ahead of the commemoration of World AIDS Day. Those are our top stories, and now the news in detail. Stay with us. A two-week session of the Supreme Court of the Gambia has begun in Banjul on Monday, 26 November 2018. Presiding over the session is Honorable Justice Hassan B. Jallow, the Chief Justice. The other justices of the Supreme Court, according to a press release issued by the ministry, are Honorable Gabriel B. Semega-Jane, Honorable Mr. Raymond C. Sok, Honorable Mr. Nicholas Colleen Brown-Mack from Sierra Leone, Honorable Mr. Abubakar Dati Yahya from Nigeria, Honorable Mr. Cherno Suleiman, and Honorable Mrs. Mam Yasin C. 30 matters have been scheduled to be heard during the session. 10 of these are criminal appeals, 3 are civil suits relating to the Commission of Inquiry, and the remaining 20 are civil appeals. The session will close on Friday, 7th December 2018, the release ends. A lawsuit has been filed against the Republic of the Gambia at the High Court by Nyansaran Job, one of the victims in the shooting incident that led to the death of Dada Haidara, former co-publisher of the Point newspaper. Babakar Sise reports.
At a press briefing held at the Center for Victims of Human Rights Violation in the Gambia, Nyansarang Job's lawyer explains that his client was shot on the leg on that fateful day, and as a result, she suffered from excruciating pain of physical and psychological distress. During the past regime, he added, his client has explored several avenues in pursuit of justice, but all proved futile, and the present government is not been helpful either.
With the change of government and with the coming into being of what we call the New Gambia, there was renewed optimism that Nyang could eventually get the justice that she has been looking for, and that Nyang could eventually get the compensation that she has actually been looking for. To that end, what she did was to reach out to the government through the Attorney General to seek redress, to seek compensation. But however, this has not been successful. We regret to report. This has not been successful. All we got was a rather vague pledge from the Office of the Attorney General that they're working on building something, or they're working on carving out something for all victims, including Nyan herself.
Barrister Jallow does not put the blame squarely on the present government, but he said his client would not relent in her quest for justice.
I would like to clarify that this is not an affront, it's not a confrontational posture that she's taking against the government of the Gambia. In fact, you would agree with me that the transaction that led to her suffering harm as a victim was not actually the making of this government. It did not happen under the watch of this government. Because the government of the Gambia has now made a public commitment and pronouncement that it is going to compensate some of the victims of the Dada Haidara incident, we thought it is important and imperative that if you're going to compensate victims emanating from the same transaction, it is not correct and it is not in the best interest of the victims to compensate some and then leave out the others.
Asked if it would not be more prudent to refer such a sensitive issue to TRRC, which will soon begin hearings, Barrister Jallow has this to say.
Our position is that even though we're proceeding with this matter, even though we're proceeding with this case, but notwithstanding, Nyan would fully cooperate with the TRRC. She will be there when needed to cooperate with the mechanism, because we believe that is also a very, very important mechanism as far as trying to harness and develop a very strong culture of accountability in our country is also concerned, and as far as moving the socio-economic agenda of this country is concerned. So we're fully in support of the TRRC, but we hasten to add that it must not be misconstrued as a substitute for the mainstream justice sector.
Mr. Jallow made it clear that Deda Hydra's family deserve compensation, but argued that Nyang Sarang Job is equally deserving of compensation because her fundamental rights, as enshrined in the 1997 Constitution, were violated. Babukar Sise, QTV News.
Gambia Revenue Authority held a tax seminar today for university students at the Law Faculty of the University of the Gambia. This was part of the authority's efforts to sensitize the public on the importance of paying tax. Ibrahim Abalde tells us more.
The Gambia is a tax-based economy, generating much of its income from taxes collected by the Gambia Revenue Authority. The seminar funded by the UNDP was attended by officials from the Gambia Revenue Authority and students from the university. The Commissioner General of GRA, Mr. Yankuba Dabo, said the seminar is part of GRA's strategy targeting key tertiary institutions in the country.
The objective of partnering with tertiary institutions serves many benefits to the authority. As an institution of higher learning, we are hoping that this partnership with UTG will help disseminate the knowledge and understanding about taxation with students and clients, many of whom are existing or potential taxpayers. Already, similar engagements were held with management, staff and students of GTTI, Gambia College, and MDI in the past. And this forum will be the fourth of its kind with tertiary institutions.
The seminar was supported by UNDP through the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. Its purpose was to strengthen the capacities of national institutions responsible for economic management and evidence-based planning to achieve inclusive growth to reduce poverty in the Gambia.
Apart from the tertiary institutions, the authority is also engaging other key stakeholders, such as the regional authorities and business communities, in series of programs to deepen their understanding on the revenue management and administration. The seminars also discuss new tax reforms and clarify challenges faced by the authority and taxpayers in the process of collecting the much needed tax revenue for government.
Usman Kaur of the University of the Gambia represented the Vice Chancellor of UTG. He stressed the importance for students to know the tax system of the Gambia.
Welcome the Commissioner General of GRA and his team to the University of the Gambia. And it is gratifying to note that the Commissioner General has been a member of the UTG, and it would be befitting to give him a rouse of applause for coming back to the university this time, not for anything, but as the Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority. And as the theme of the program today is on a sensitization, particularly geared towards the students who will be the future leaders of tomorrow, I believe it is in the right direction, in the sense that the whole objective of this program is for compliance purpose.
Nuha Nyasi of UNDP has this to say.
To strengthen the national institutions and as well as sub-national institutions who are responsible in economic management, evidence-based policy, planning, and budgeting. It's a 5-year project, and then when we talk of economic management, of course, our minds goes to GRA as one of a key stakeholder as far as the revenue collection for the government and then revenue management for the government is concerned.
Ibrahim Abalde, QTV News.
The Constitutional Review Commission nationwide public consultation tour continued on Monday with a meeting in Garawal. As Ansumana Esonyasi reports from Basse, the people of Garawal want the existing election laws be maintained.
Garawal is a Sarahule community in Kantora district. Residents here say they don't want to appear on camera. They say former Vice President Hassan Musa Kamara hails from this district, but they feel left out since the First Republic. And this being the 4th time since independence that the Gambia is drafting a constitution makes the CRC's visit even more significant, as they now have a chance to say how they want to be governed. The chief of Kantora, Alhaji Bachi Sise, and the Alcalde of Garawal, Alhaji Banta Sise, both expressed their delight with the CRC officials for creating the avenue for public discussion. They say this is the first time in the history of Garawal that they are given the opportunity to share their thoughts as regards laws on citizenship, elections, and fundamental rights and freedoms. This is day 3 of the CRC's phase 2 of public engagements, and we're here in Garawal. It's one of the most popular Sarahule settlements here in URR. Before the commencement of this meeting, residents here have pleaded with commissioners through their village head that they don't want to appear on camera. Discussions here centered around citizenship and elections. On elections, they are proposing for provisions in the new constitution that will guarantee the right to vote for diasporan Gambians and prisoners, and they want IC officials to declare their assets before they are given any responsibility prior to elections. They also want the continuous use of marbles instead of ballot papers. Now, on citizenship, they are proposing that one needs to attain citizenship through naturalization. At least you should be resident in this country for 5 years. You should be a permanent resident in the Gambia for 5 years before you're giving a citizenship through naturalization, or by marriage, or by birth. Now, these are the two main areas the discussions here today have centered around. But like I said, residents don't want to be shown on camera. And so on, so Nyasi QTV News, Garawal, URR.
A day-long women's leadership forum on the theme Achieving the Shared Vision was held today. According to a survey carried out by Bridging Gap's Advisory in 2017, women are underrepresented in all forms of leadership in the Gambia. Momodu Gajaga reports.
Women in many sectors such as governance, activism and entrepreneurship came together for the second time to discuss issues surrounding leadership and representation in all sectors. According to a survey conducted by Bridging Gap Advisory in 2017 to understand the leadership landscape in the country, indicated that gender disparities are perpetuated by the limited representation, participation of women at decision-making and policy levels, making many policies and programs insensitive to the needs of women. The survey, which targeted 20 institutions in both public and private sectors, shows the following male-female representations. In the civil service, 69% male, 31% female; at directors level, 87% male, 13% female, and similar statistics at senior managers and board member levels too. Dr. Aissatou Touré, Minister of Health and Social Welfare, in delivering her statement said the opportunities are there for women to grab despite challenges in bridging the gender gap in decision-making and key positions.
I want to assure you that our government is committed to gender equality and gender justice. For the fact that we are working on these reforms, we all know what it is. These statistics are not impressive, but we are going to turn the tide. We are going to change it as we move in this new democracy and the new Gambia as we move forward. There are quite a lot of initiatives that are going on right now, and I must tell you, when you want to talk about gender equality, gender justice or gender responsiveness, it has to be a policy direction. The political will has to be there.
Ramatullah Gay, CEO of Bridging Gap Advisories, highlighted the importance of women coming together in such a forum.
Where there is no continuous dialogue, there would not be much progress. Our voices as women need to be heard to explore and determine possible solutions to our challenges. And you will acknowledge that we have numerous challenges, right? Women in the Gambia have made considerable progress in various endeavors thus far. However, you will agree with me that there still remains a wide disparity between men and women in their participation in our economy. When compared to men, women still lag behind, especially in leadership and decision-making roles. Women's underrepresentation in positions of leadership is broadly acknowledged in the global business world, and the Gambia is no exception.
The event also took the form of exhibition of products made by Gambian women, the launch of a magazine featuring prominent women in leadership positions, and a fabric called Kunta Kinte also was launched. Aissatou Nyang, a physically challenged woman, works as an entrepreneur, selling homemade key holders.
Since I got into the business of selling these locally made key holders, it's been good. I am able to sustain myself despite the little earnings. I am paying for my children's school fee. I even managed to save money in the bank. I am calling on my fellow physically challenged persons to turn their skills into something meaningful. Given that most of those who are begging in the streets have skills they can use to earn a decent living.
Another woman taking charge in a male-dominated sector is Awa Jan, who has been farming for 15 years.
I do
not only farm to eat the produce, but sell as well for the benefit of all. My farm produce can also be reprocessed into other forms to be sold in supermarkets, generating income for others too. One of the challenges I face is marketing. At the market day, I sell at a small price because I live afar. Accessing the market where I can sell for a better price is almost impossible.
Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
The West African College of Nursing Gambia chapter has commenced a 3-day medical and surgical faculty sub-regional workshop at the Nana Conference Hall in Kanifing. The theme of the workshop is eye care for unconscious and critically ill patients in medical surgical wards, nurses' knowledge, practice and perception. The West African College of Nursing is one of the specialized agencies of the West African Health Organization. It undertakes activities that contribute toward the attainment of the highest possible standards and protection of health care for the people of the sub-region. Speaking at the opening ceremony on behalf of the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, the Director of Health Services, Mamadi Cham, reiterated his ministry's dedication to the ideals of the West African College of Nursing. He further affirmed his ministry's continuous commitment to the provision of high-quality eye health care services to the Gambia and beyond.
To raise the profile of the ophthalmic nursing cadre and enhance supportive supervision of staff at regional level, my ministry has succeeded in defending the submission of regional principal ophthalmic nursing officers in the 5 provincial eye health regions of the country, while the program for the start continue to play their role in the 2 western regions. This is just to reiterate the commitment of the ministry in trying to reposition eye health services. Currently, you have ophthalmic nurses at the facility level, but at regional health team level, there is nobody with specialty in ophthalmics. So the supervision and monitoring of eye health services at the regional level is being compromised.
Fatoumata Touré, president of the West African College of Nursing Gambia chapter, spoke to QTV on the importance of the training.
It is very important for us to do continuing education for nurses. This is one of the objectives of our college, that each and every country will organize in-country workshops, sub-regional workshops for nurses, at least to create awareness, increase their knowledge in the area of nursing. And we were supposed to get other sister countries to be here, but unfortunately, none of them have been able to turn up, maybe due to the short notice and then due to financial problems. But nonetheless, people in country, we've managed to get them around. And this is means of upgrading their knowledge so that we can provide better patient care in a patient who is not conscious, in someone who is not conscious, and then in someone who is critically ill, where you know that they cannot do anything for themselves. They're just lying down there. So this is the reason why we said we should run this workshop so that we can be able to create awareness, assist nurses in their service provision.
Touré further explains the rationale behind the team.
Well, we are really motivated in looking at the area of eye care because, as I said, this college started in 1981. And I think in the whole sub-region, this is the first time we are organizing something on eye care. We all know the importance of the eye. If someone is blind, if someone loses his or her sight, it means you are at least 3/4% disabled because you cannot do anything much for yourself. And people are taking care of such patients who you know that they are ill, and at the end of their illness, they can develop eye complications. And as Sheikh Zahir Eye Care Center have been receiving so many patients who know that they could have been managed at the primary level, but they ended up being referred to them because of complications.
Ahead of the commemoration of World AIDS Day, the Directorate of Health Promotion and Education of the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, in partnership with the National AIDS Secretariat and partners on Tuesday, briefed the media on this year's commemoration. Omar P. Jallo reports.
World AIDS Day is commemorated globally each year on December 4th since 1988. Today is celebrated to reflect and focus on global awareness of the pandemic and generate positive actions to stop the spread of HIV and AIDS. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the day's celebration, and the theme is Know Your HIV Status. In the Gambia, there are an estimated 21,000 people infected with the disease, out of which only 7,000 are under treatment. About 37% of the Gambians' population do not know their HIV status. Thus the theme for this year's commemoration. Official says confidential HIV testing is still an issue of concern, as many people only get tested after becoming ill and showing the symptoms. Stigma and discrimination are the main challenges of HIV testing.
Significant progress have been made in the HIV and AIDS response since 1988. And today, globally, 3 in 4 people living with HIV know their status. But we still have miles to go, as the UN AIDS report shows. A staggering 9.4 million people living with HIV still don't know their HIV status.
Speaking at the conference, Sirandao of the Joint United Nations Program on HIV in the Gambia says globally there are an estimated 36.7 million people living with the virus. Since its discovery in 1984, more than 35 million have died of AIDS, making it one of the deadliest pandemics in human history.
Just to stress that in the case of the Gambia, we have a potential to end HIV and AIDS because the population is small. The number of people who know their status or are infected, it's about 21,000. It's small. So the Gambia can be a success story if we all mobilize our various expertise, our various resources, and we also commit to know our status, and they encourage our families to know their status. Because if you don't know your status, you cannot be put on treatment.
The Director, National AIDS Secretariat, Usman Baji, reveals that the Office of the First Lady, in collaboration with the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in the Gambia, will embark on a nationwide HIV and AIDS sensitization campaign.
The Chinese have funded a nationwide caravan to the tune of $2 million through the Office of the First Lady. They want to definitely be part of the crusade against HIV and AIDS in this country, which is why this is one of the products that they have produced, and they pledge more to come.
Fanta Jata Sow, a women's rights program specialist with Action Aid International de Gambia, says women and girls are mostly at risk of being infected with the HIV virus. She therefore challenged all human rights advocate groups in the Gambia to support the efforts of the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and the National AIDS Secretariat in ending HIV and AIDS in the Gambia.
There is no development undertaking that can be single-handedly tackled by one entity. And this is what has triggered the partnership between civil society, the Gambia government, the National AIDS Secretariat, the UN system, to join hands and put resources, focused resources, in the fight against HIV/AIDS. Because HIV/AIDS, like I said, as any other development challenge, cannot be tackled by one single entity.
The day is an opportunity for people across the world to unite in the fight against HIV and AIDS. It also allows people to show their support for those living with the virus, as well as presenting the occasions to remember those who have died from the disease. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Before we end this news bulletin, we recap our main headlines. A lawsuit has been filed against the Republic of the Gambia at the High Court by Nyansaran Job, one of the victims in the shooting incident that led to the death of Dada Haidara, former co-publisher of The Point newspaper. The Constitutional Review Commission nationwide public consultation continued on Monday with a meeting in Garawal. The people of Garawal want the existing election laws be maintained. And ahead of the commemoration of World AIDS Day, the Directorate of Health Promotion and Education of the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, in partnership with the National AIDS Secretariat and partners, on Tuesday briefed the media on this year's commemoration. The day is commemorated on 1st December each year. The theme for this year's commemoration is Know Your HIV Status. That is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Do join us tomorrow, same time for more news. Do stay tuned for more interesting programs. Thank you for your company.